Hello. Hi. We're here. We're playing Ball of the Ashen Throne. The Ashen Throne is, in fact, falling. Reports have not been exaggerated. And things are still happening. But before we get to the things that are happening, I'm going to turn it over to Kian real quick.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming to hang out at Entropy Emporium tonight. Two quick things before we get started. First and foremost, we are raising money for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. It is very obvious why that is important work right now. Keep all eyes on Palestine, all eyes on Sudan, all eyes on Congo. Pay attention to the world around you. Today of all days, if you are here in the US, you understand why that is important, so pay attention. Stay aware. The other thing is that if you like what we do, we have a Discord server. You can come and hang out. You can talk about your favorite characters. You can talk about our shows. You can talk about really whatever you want, as long as you're friendly and respectful. We would love to have you come hang out with us. That is all that I have, so I will send it back over to you, Will.
Hello. It's me again. I've been here the whole time. We're gonna get on into Fall of the Ashen Throne in just a second. We will go around and do our character introductions. This is a 5e game. If you haven't caught any of it before, might be a little confusing, but I'm sure you can figure it out. It's a 5e game. It's very focused on the politics, following a coup, and the brave and loyal Crown's Guard knights who survive in the aftermath and are still kind of deciding what's going to happen next. It is truly up to them. With all that being said, I believe that I will turn it over to our cast to introduce themselves and who they are playing. Alex, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off.
I would not mind. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. I use he, him pronouns. And tonight I'm going to be playing Sir Telemachus Bast, who also uses he, him pronouns. He is a rogue, the former left hand of the king. Yeah, that's all we need to say about Telemachus right now. Please ignore the gaping wound in his side and the poison coursing through his veins. It's fine.
Agreed. Glad we're on the same page. Anita.
Hello, Internet. Hestia in night form. Got the bonnet on, really just trying to be comfortable throughout the horrors. But y'all aren't here to hear about Hestia right now. Right now, you're hearing about Anita. Anita uses she, her, and they, them pronouns. Hestia uses she, her pronouns. And, oh, Hestia's got emotions. And we'll delve into that later on tonight. For right now, I'll go ahead and pass it forward to Anna.
That is me. I'm Anna, aka Archival Dust Bunny, most places on the internet, queer trans advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG performer, producer, and podcaster. My pronouns are she, her, as are Liv's pronouns. Liv the Peregrine, as she is known within the Crown's Guard. Personal bodyguard to Princess Helena, who did not survive the uprising. As I said in the past, a little bit of a blemish on my resume, but we're recovering. We're getting there. I saved one princess at least. But yeah, I'm in Team Battle Wound. I'm kind of beat to shit, like half of the other people here. So yeah, that's all I got. I'm just rambling. Who's next? Amika. Garnet.
Hey y'all, I'm Garnet. I will be playing Amika Ravenswell. She's also kind of a little bit poisoned, but she won't be in a minute. And she's going to try to figure out, she's very much going to be figuring out where this poisoned person came from, because she's real annoyed, just super annoyed. And then she's also going to have to deal with like a sad Hestia, and that's not going to be fun, but it'll be fine.
It will all be fine. And Kian.
Hello again, everybody. My name is Kian. My pronouns are they, them. Relatively recently changed because gender is not real. I am playing Morgan Alcazar tonight. As I said on Blue Sky, all of my songs for Morgan are either romance songs or songs about killing people. So we're just going to see what the vibes are tonight. Not currently poisoned, not currently bleeding out. So really, it could go either way. But yeah, that's me.
And my name is Will. I'm your storyteller for this game and for this evening. And I'm gonna play everyone else. Everyone that isn't dead, everyone that wasn't killed last session, that is. And speaking of, I think where we are going to pick up this time, where we're going to pick up is jumping ahead just a short amount of time, just long enough for you to take the body of Rhea, this chambermaid baker who you ran into very shortly after fleeing the palace, fleeing the castle. Just long enough for you to take her body and move it to Lady Rosanna Blackpike's storeroom in the basement. Just kind of a regular stone box under the house, designed to keep things cool, designed to keep things from spoiling, but the most concealed and secret part of the house, the best place, as we all can agree, I'm sure, to put a body. And I think that is where we will pick up, with all of you kind of finally having a chance to catch your breath. The dawn was kind of starting to break when everything went to chaos with Rhea and Telemachus and the rest of you as well. So you've all awoken. You're all gathered. Lady Blackpike is also standing there, huffing a little bit from the effort of moving Rhea's body. That's where you find yourselves.
You couldn't have asked a single question before you tore her throat out.
I will say that Hestia's specter, nightmare, probably like once like everybody took a breath outside, probably started like dissolving and like face contorted in like a scream as the sunlight hit them, and sunrise ended the spell. No more specter. He will be missed.
Two things. One, I know this poison, so I don't need to ask her questions. I know where she came from. And two, it's a little difficult to speak without human vocal cords.
You weren't the only one out there. She was pinned, and you know where she came from, but why was she here? How'd she know about the safe house? That's one of our biggest secrets. Did she learn it from the prince?
I can tell you this much. By the look in her eyes, she wasn't going to tell us anything. If I hadn't killed her, she would have killed herself before we could have gotten a single answer out of her.
Why did we kill the last thing that my brother ever sent to me?
He didn't.
What are you talking about?
She lied. Lord Bast saw through it the second he saw her. I was a bit more blinded by giving you your toy. He called her on it. Now she's dead.
Are you okay,
I'm gonna
Sebastian?
turn to Telemachus, and sort of say, what did you discover of Rhea?
I think Telemachus is standing a little further away from the body, maybe leaning up against the wall. He's got a hand on his side. It wasn't so much what I learned about her. It's what she told me. She's well trained. She heard me. And I admit that I may be getting old, but she shouldn't have. That was clue number 1.
Oh.
I wish I had some grand revelation for you, but unfortunately, the training that she received, Lady Amika is correct, she wasn't going to tell us anything.
So Hector didn't send her. And we simply haven't heard from my brother at all in the past 72 hours.
That is the optimistic appraisal of the situation, Your Highness. There is, unfortunately, another option.
Speak plainly.
Hector could have sent her.
Right.
I think Lady Blackpike will cock her head at that and say, "What exactly do you mean by that?"
I know I have something of a reputation for paranoia, but in times like these, it is good to not be sentimental. It is good to consider every potential thrust. And whoever wielded that blade, obviously, wanted you dead. It is comforting to think that it was not your brother. However, we can't rule anyone out. There are people that it is more likely to be, and I think he will look to Amika at that point, knowing that she may have a line on that, but we should not jump to any conclusion.
So, what you're saying, what it sounds like to me, is that you still need to speak to this girl.
The dead lie less than the living, but they can still lie.
My, isn't everyone full of surprises today?
I hesitate to say this, to bring this up even, but I might have heard of a way to do exactly that.
Hestia's going to turn to Lady Rosanna with a bit of like an impressed look on her face. Dabbling in witchcraft, are we?
I wish it was witchcraft. I wish it was. I feel more comfortable making the recommendation. No, don't imagine any of you have spent much time down here in Dockside. But there are stories, and I've heard some of them from the mouths of men that have worked for me or crewed my family's vessels. They say, he tells stories of, they call it a chapel. I don't imagine that it's anything as nice as what that makes it sound like, but there is a man that they tell stories of, a stargazer in exile. Heretic, they'd call him. The things that they say he can do, which kind of suppresses an involuntary shudder. See the future, look into the past, even cross the veil of death itself.
I mean, it sounds terrifying at best, but it's a lead. Since we didn't get any other information, she says, shooting a glance at Amika.
Well, I would not dally too long, but I would not dally too long. The stories I've heard, the connection grows fainter the more time that's passed, but I also would not recommend going in the broad light. Dockside gets busy, and people have sharp eyes around here. Might be best to wait once again for cover of darkness.
Milady, might I have the use of your kitchen? Lord Bast needs to be unpoisoned.
Of course, whatever you might need. I think I have a box of herbs somewhere around here I could take up.
Thank you.
Of course, the sea is full of a great many poisonous things, and one of the first things you learn is how to treat them, though I, of course, that's your expertise.
And then she will just follow her back into the house.
Sir Bast, I assume you are following?
Yeah, a little more slowly than usual, but
Sure.
he does sort of stagger after.
Leaving Liv and Hestia and Morgan still in the larder with the body. If there's anything the three of you want to do.
Liv will glance at Morgan. Guess if we're staying here another day, we should set up a perimeter patrol. Something to keep us busy.
Morgan has been silently fuming since Telemachus insinuated that Hector could have sent Rhea, but didn't have much ground to stand on to argue. It's a very reasonable thought. That is the job of the Crown's Guard, is to think of threats, so didn't say anything, but has been silently fuming in the corner. But nods to Liv. I'll take the front.
I'll keep an eye on the back then.
Hestia has knelt down next to Rhea's body. And is poring over it, just looking and trying to see as much as she can from hoping that the body can give her some sort of answers. I'm sure that when she touches it, she'll feel this lick of like some poison on the skin, like, and she's just in the cold box, like kneeling down next to this person. And she's just like there for a little minute.
Why don't you roll an investigation check?
Ooh, boy, investigation. I can do that. I can investigate the
I was
body.
gonna say, I think it might actually be investigate, but either way.
Oh, well, investigate or what are you saying?
No. Yeah, it would be investigate. I just couldn't remember if it was called investigation or investigate.
Oh, so +1 and yep, no, just a +1 intelligence. So this is fine. This is positive. It's gonna be a nat 20 anyway, so it doesn't matter.
All right.
It's not a nat 20, but it is a nat 19. 20
Sure.
total.
Sure.
I love that.
Incredible. You find, interestingly enough, you reach out and touch and expect to feel some amount of slickness, shall we say, from the poison, like you mentioned. There's nothing there. You don't find anything, except that as you are examining the body, I think you notice that kind of under the collar around the base of her neck and at her wrists, there is a sort of makeup. You realize as you sort of rub at it, that comes off, and you see that her veins stand out very starkly from her otherwise fair skin. Very dark. They look nearly black. And she was clearly using some type of cosmetic to cover that up. And I think that actually sort of pings in your memory. I think you have heard stories at court, not from Valoria, but from beyond its borders, of people, most often specifically women, who are called muses. They serve as spies, assassins, companions, as you might expect. They serve a variety of functions, but they are highly trained. They are very deadly, and most notably, they undergo, whether it's science or magic, no one is entirely certain, but they make their own blood poisonous.
Hmm. Can Hestia, like, harvest this? Harvest her blood?
Yeah.
Like, to coat with weapons? That sounds like a thing that... That sounds like a thing that could be useful in the days to come.
You could take some of the poison. You might have to check with an expert. I mean, you could certainly try to put it on your blades, or keep it, or just keep it with you. But you can absolutely take some of the blood in the short term. Yeah.
We'll bleed this woman. And I think then we'll sort of like say softly to herself, the dead hold up the Ashen throne. And I think Birdie's gonna appear like beside her at that point, like obviously unhappy. It's very cold down here. But well, I'm asking like logistically, if I tried to cremate this body down here, is that gonna be a problem? Just in general, I want to collect this woman's ashes and use it to forge something new after all of this is done.
I think Rosanna would have mentioned that you will probably need the remains for if you are
Awesome.
planning to go talk to this heretical stargazer man.
Cool. Then we'll leave her immolated for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get up and go, I think, find Liv. I think that's Hestia's next move.
Okay. Yeah, you can absolutely get up and go find Liv. Liv, you said you were watching the back of the house? The sort of the ocean side?
Yeah. Because it's daylight now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so being outside is a little conspicuous. So I think she is upstairs in a room looking out, just the room that has the best view, I think, over the back, especially if there's a way down from here quickly. Like if there's an awning for a porch below this window or something that she could drop down on, then drop down again, that sort of thing.
Yeah, how about like a rose trellis?
Yeah, anything like that.
Cool. And I don't know if you would knock when you find Liv.
I think the door is open. Liv is just kind of sitting in a chair there. Her sword's kind of resting up against the wall just under the window as she's looking out.
Yeah, we'll as she walks past, sort of trying to track where Liv went, we'll see open door, look inside, sees that you're doing something, and we'll sort of do the secret knock on the open door to sort of get your attention.
Is there something you need, Your Highness?
I am sorry. I stabbed you. Please don't hug me again.
It was an unfortunate thing that happened in the heat of battle. Not anything that we need to worry about. I'm okay. Amika patched me up decently enough. I'll survive.
Good. And she sort of lingers at the door. Good. That's very good. May I keep watch with you?
I would think something like this would be quite boring for you. But if you'd like, you're welcome to, of course.
Hestia immediately walks inside and probably pulls up a seat next to the window that you're next, like behind you, like where you're seated at the window. And I think is going to recoil a little bit as she sits down next to you and gets like a good look at your face for the first time. And will just like reach into her pack and pull out like some bandages, some like disinfected stuff, and just say, I am told it's easier when you have someone do it for you. Do you mind?
I don't really know that that's needed, Your Highness. It's honestly the split here. It's worse underneath. This one's from the edge of a shield. This one from a gauntlet. It's the damage to the skin is superficial at best.
It is turning a rather ugly shade of yellow, though.
Bruises do that.
Might want to clean it.
If you insist, who am I to refuse?
Hestia starts getting to work. Hestia isn't proficient in medicine. Hestia has a -1 to wisdom, so it's probably a learning curve for her, and you probably wind up with a lot of like patches and like bandages on your face.
I think Liv has been in enough fights to know when someone doesn't know what they're doing as far as first aid is concerned. But
yeah, I mean, she'll
you're putting,
leave.
You're putting antiseptic on bruises.
Yeah, she'll leave the bandages on for now. She'll take them off as soon as Hestia leaves, but she'll leave them on for now.
When her work is done, I think she's going to look out the window, look back towards the door. And I think is going to scoot in closer and say, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What was my sister to you? Because I know that she really loved your company. She wouldn't have had you around all those years if she didn't, but were you?
Liv, I think, is quiet for a very long moment, kind of staring at Hestia, trying to judge how honest she can be in this moment.
You want to make an insight check?
Sure, why not? What is my insight? That's 13 total.
13's pretty good. I think that I'll leave that interpretation up to you, Anita, how much Hestia did or didn't know, and how obvious that is or not to Liv.
Hestia honestly knew that Lena was happiest when Liv was around her. But honestly doesn't know how Liv felt about Helena throughout the entire time that they were together, and she wants to know. Though, like, you don't know for what reason she wants to know. Like, Liv and Hestia have been... I think there's always been, like, a tension there. So you can decide whether or not you want her to know, like, how you really felt in this moment. I think, like, I think you would be curious as to why she's asking, or I don't know, like, but yeah, I don't think Hestia has ever showed an interest in you as much as, like, at all before this moment. Well, before a couple days ago, when the stabbing happened. But
Seems to be of little consequence at this point.
my only sister and nearly everyone who has ever loved her are dead. And I would like to know if you're mourning too.
Being in Helena's presence was like seeing the moonlight reflected in a brook for the first time. We surely you've noticed we've been together nearly 10 years. We had plans to marry once Hector figured his shit out. That's what these are. I know you've recognized them as your family heirlooms. They were given as a promise until we could.
Oh. Well, this sucks. Right?
It does indeed, Your Highness. Figuring out what happened to Hector, putting all of this to bed is the only thing I have left driving me at the moment. If I stopped, I don't know if I could get going again. I don't know if I could start again, so I'm pushing myself to keep moving. But once this is done, once either you or Hector is back on the throne, I'm done. I know this appointment is supposed to be for life, but I need out. Whatever rewards wait for us at the end of this, gold, titles, whatever, I don't want any of it. I just want out. I want you to promise me you will release me from my service. That's all I ask of you. If for nothing else, in honor of your sister.
Hestia's gonna... Yeah, with a 13 insight, there's like a weird pulse of anger there. in her face as you say you want out. Before she turns to the window that y'all are keeping watch out of and collects herself and just says, all of my siblings leave me. Every single one. Second I find out I have a sister-in-law, and he's already out the door.
I'm sorry that I couldn't protect Helena. She was the reason I was here. She was the reason I was doing any of this. The city has nothing left for me.
You can't just forget.
I'm not going to forget her. I'm never going to forget her. I just can't do this anymore. And keeping me on as a Crown's Guard would be a disservice to you and to your brother, because I won't be able to fulfill my duties like I have. I won't be able to be the person that you need me to be in this role.
You're released from service now if you want to be.
I need to see this
There is
through.
literally nothing I can do to stop you.
I want to see this through. Your sister asked me to see this through, to see that you and your brother are safe. And the only way to do that is to see you back on the throne with whatever conspiracy or coup this has been squashed.
We will retake the castle, bury my sister, and you will help me care for her grave until we are old and grey. Our joints make weird sounds when we move.
Do not know there is much left of her body to bury. She was in the stables when it was set aflame, and I intend to leave this city.
What is wrong with me? Estia never wanted me around. Hector never wanted to be around us. My family has vexed me to no end, but I've never wanted to never see them again. I've never wanted to shut them out of my life. You are unfianced to my sister, to the closest person I had in the world. I had no idea.
cannot pretend to understand the inner workings of royal relationships, but I think your brother will be happy to see you after all of this. This sort of thing puts stuff into perspective.
You honestly think so?
I do. And once this is over, make an effort to spend time with him. He can't go anywhere. He'll be the king.
You think he could have done this? He never wanted the throne. You think he
If-
could have passed it off to Uncle Godric, of all people?
It is possible that Hector at the very least started this. I don't think the methods that were used were something that Hector would have done. The prince loved his family, loved his people. He wouldn't have signed off on wholesale slaughter. So even if he did have a hand in starting this, I don't think he had control of the situation. It's very possible that even if he did initiate this, that he is no longer in control of it. Which is why no matter what we learn, we need to find him.
I can't sleep in the master bedroom. It is very distracting in there. May I?
In here?
I trust you. I say to the woman who has confided in me that she is going to break her lifelong oath, that I trust you,
To be clear,
sister.
she's not going to break it. She's asking to be released from it. But Liv kind of glances around the room. I mean, there's only one bed, and I can sleep on the floor. It's fine. I'm used to doing that. Who am I to say no? Of course you can, Your Highness.
Hestia will get up, like, go into another room. Like, you'll hear, like, crash, like, tink, as she moves a mattress through the hallway and into the next room, lays it down, and will take a nap.
Liv will watch this in confusion and then go back to being on watch, keeping an eye on the back of the house. She doesn't know what to make of this, and she cannot protest because Hestia is the princess and currently the crown princess. We don't because we don't know the status of the prince. So
It's true. And I imagine with Liv's watchful presence, Hestia finally gets a little sleep. While that is going on, Morgan, you went to watch the front, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
I think you are only... are you outside?
Yeah.
Are you making an effort to conceal yourself, or are you just kind of hanging out. Like, to set the scene, the front of the house faces towards the rest of Dockside, the neighborhood. You've already started to see like carts rolling by, horses, etc. As people are starting to file down in the first light of dawn. There's the kind of the grounds of this house, even though it's not massive. The lawn, for lack of a better term, there is an old, very old tree that grows up kind of in the middle of it. Some hedges that are well tended to. And then the like house itself has enough bits that like overhang that there are shadows that you can just kind of blend into depending on what you prefer.
Morgan is trying to be hidden, but equally from anybody who might be looking from outside, as well as anybody who might be looking from the house. I do not want to be seen by anybody in the house.
Okay. Before we move forward, is there a particular reason for that?
Morgan is trying to decide if they are taking a leave for the moment to go and take care of some business.
Understood. I think as you are deciding that, you hear a door open in the house behind you. And if you would like to avoid whoever this is, you can roll a stealth check.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it. And I think because you've had a chance to kind of get yourself in a position, feel free to roll that with advantage.
Okay. Oh, I'm so glad I had advantage on that, because the first one was a 2. That's a 19.
Okay, awesome. 19 stealth check. You kind of look back and you see Lady Rosanna kind of standing by the doorway. She has like 2 cups in her hand that seem to be kind of steaming in the early light. She's looking around. You get the impression that she does not see you, so you can decide if you are going to alert her to where you are or let her leave, and then you can do whatever you want to do.
I'll step out of the shadows.
Okay. She looks a little bit surprised. She jumps a little bit, and she says, sir, I'm sorry, I apologize. Didn't see you there. I suppose that was the point.
That is indeed the goal. Can I help you with something?
Just, thought you might want this. I thought it might help you. And she holds out a cup to you.
I'll take it, but do not drink from it.
Okay. Yeah, she takes a sip of hers and kind of like relishes it. Says, I'm not sure if you've had coffee before, but we make it strong on the ships, and it keeps you awake, keeps you alert through the long sailing nights.
If I begin to get tired, I'll be sure to partake.
You're not like the rest of them. I suppose that's not really a question, more of just a statement or an observation, but I'm not from this world either.
Tieflings are indeed not common here, so...
That's not what I meant. You're not from Theloria. You're not from the land. I'm from an island. Leviathan's blood. I imagine it's probably quite a bit colder and less pleasant than where you're from, but
It's quite warm where I'm from. We have a volcano on the island, and we keep careful watch over it. a beautiful place to be, but my people are the Valorian people.
Are they? The way that you speak of it, it sounds so lovely. Not why come here?
Thank you.
Absolutely, you can. Please.
I don't like this.
Okay. All right.
Ah, fuck. Where's my insight? Shit, that's a 10.
I mean, if there is duplicity here, it doesn't seem obvious. It's you might not be used to people asking you questions about yourself.
Yeah.
But this seems like an honest, like she seems interested. She seems genuinely interested, and you don't get the impression that she has any motive here.
Morgan, kind of tilts their head to one side, and they get a sort of stonewall expression to their face as they say, I have family I needed distance from, and a reputation I needed to avoid.
I can understand that.
When the prince arrived at the islands, it seemed a good as opportunity as any.
Is that so?
What's the tone to that?
She gives a sort of a little bit of a laugh that she can't quite contain, looking down at her cup. I visited the castle once or twice during my erstwhile courtship with the princess. You might not remember, but I saw the two of you together.
I'm his crown's guard. That's not uncommon.
That's not what I meant. May I call you Morgan?
Please.
Morgan, if you can't be plain spoken now of all times, when can you? Why hide it?
Because a Crown's Guard member that I look up to has insinuated that Hector could have started this. I know in my heart that he didn't, but it's my job to put distance.
And is that what you're going to do if you find him?
No. I don't think I could if I tried. I haven't spent a single moment worrying if he's safe, if he's alive. He can hold his own, but my job is to be there for him, with him, and I'm not.
I'm I'll tell the others. But I'm going to be looking into allies amongst the other lords and ladies if things become dire. It would take more than the 6 of us to take back the Ashen Throne by force if it comes to that. And I'm sure there are plenty who are loyal to the Jordanes who don't even know that any of them survived.
Is Lord Godfrey on that list of allies for you?
Well, on the surface, it looks like he's just doing his job. But, he has never sat right with me. I've never cared for the man, to be perfectly honest.
Anyone that quick to seize the throne without considering if the royal family is still alive, I don't think is to be trusted.
I would agree with you. I think he mourns publicly while celebrating. There's a smugness to the man that I've never cared for.
Are you busy at the moment?
No, not at this moment.
I need you to keep watch for me. I have something I need to take care of.
I understand. I can do that.
If the others are looking for me, tell them I will find them with the stargazers tonight.
Understood. This chapel that they speak of, it's off of Ain Street. I'm sure you'll be able to find it if you meet us there.
I appreciate it. And I am going to slink my way out and keep to the shadows and start heading for the castle.
We will circle back to that. Certainly. For quickly hopping into the kitchen, the Lady Blackpike handed you a fairly well organized box full of like compartments of various like dried herbs, poultices, the like, Amica. Some of the stuff looks old. Some of it you look at it and you're like, oh, that's just like folk tale. That's just like folk medicine. That's not real. But some of it appears to be pretty legit.
Mixing that with some of my own stores as well. I did roll a natural 17, so plus my proficiency, that's an unnatural 20 for cooking up an antidote.
Yes. Yeah, you were very able to stop the flow of poison in both of you. And I think in the process, I think in the process you are kind of able to identify it a bit. I imagine that's probably part of the healing process for Amika. You got a good taste of it also when you killed Rhea, enough so that I think you would be able to recognize similarly what Hestia recognized in examining the body, which is that her blood was poisonous. And I don't know how much information Mika would have about muses as a more of a political operative, we'll say. But I think you would probably have at least heard stories of the blood poison. And people who weaponized that before from a far off country.
So upon realizing this, Amika just starts swearing in her native tongue, just so annoyed. Will hand a mug of. So there's two things that she does. For the internal poison, it's drinkable. It tastes terrible. It is not going to taste good. She's gonna hand him this mug and just say, "There's nothing I can do about this." And then while he's drinking it, she's going to put a salve on the wound to clear up the poison externally and also help heal all of that. And after she's done being annoyed about learning it, she's gonna fucking muses.
Muses. Has Telemachus heard of muses?
I think almost certainly, given the circles that you run in.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Similar information. Assassins, spies, etc. Poison blood. Very well trained, very efficient.
I was worried I was losing my touch, but that was a much more skilled opponent than I've been used to these years. That really stings.
It will. That's good. You and I both know pain means you're still alive. Despite the fact that we are both getting entirely too old for this.
Well, hopefully we've got a little bit left. Who do we know at court that uses muses?
Can I roll a history check to see if I can remember in this moment?
Absolutely. I think that is exactly the right move. Now, I will say, since you're putting your heads together, we'll call that like an assist roll, so you can do that with advantage.
Thank you. Much better. That is a natural 19 for a total of 20.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, you rack your brains, just kind of tossing names out back and forth to each other from your long history within the courts of Valoria and Havenol specifically. And I think you recall that there were a couple of panics, a couple of people who were accused of being muses, but it was always hard to it was always somewhat hard to determine. I think, Amika, what you recall specifically is there were a few women and possibly a couple of women and one man who were brought before you, and you were commanded to test their blood to see if they were, and each time it was a false accusation. Telemachus, think between the two of you, as you're going through this list of names and this collection of memories, you recall overhearing not a fight exactly, but a terse conversation regarding you recall a terse conversation that you overheard between Lucan, the king, and Cedric, the right hand of the king. Specifically, they were almost commiserating, but at the same time, Lucan was a little bit chiding Cedric about some of the rumors that had begun to circulate about Cedric's son's proclivities in companions, and that he could not continue to show up to important regal events with such companionship. While you personally had not witnessed this event, or perhaps you had and just kind of dismissed it because that's sort of typical for Lyle Godfrey, you recall in this moment, it occurs to you in this moment that that is often the cover story used by muses, especially if in a as assassins and as bodyguards. One of the most effective methods of cover that they have and are trained for is as companions in that regard.
I always sort of dismissed it as Cedric and Lyle trying to make themselves seem more important and dangerous than they were, but maybe there was truth to it. And to be clear, where do we think Cedric is right now? Have we heard of or from him?
I mean, presumably, probably at his family's estate or at the castle, since his father is currently acting as regent.
Well, if the acting regent has access, familial or otherwise, to the muses, be a fine way to eliminate any rival, and his eyes will sort of travel to where he heard a mattress being dragged and assumed that was Hestia.
So, given our collective stations, do we allow him the chance to lie to us, or do we just kill him?
I find that lies often tell you more about the person that you're trying to find out something about than the truth, really. So I think we let him talk first. And then he dies.
Works for me.
Above table, how much do I get to heal from this stab wound and this poison wound?
Ooh,
That is a great question. I meant
yet.
to ask, Amika, are you doing magic? Quote unquote?
I think I should. I did. It did rest at some point, so I've got the spell slot back. Oof. It's only 8. Apparently I didn't rest enough.
I mean, 8 is better than what you had.
That's right. 25 is better than 17.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, she got you good, but you can take the opportunity to rest, and that will...
I was going to say, at the very least, I think he's probably going to take a short rest while all of this is happening. So I will spend some
Some
hit dice
hit
to
dice. Yeah.
get back up to full. But
All right. Leave that on while you rest. Try not to move too much. You
couldn't
should
be
be
a
fine when
problem.
you wake.
You will raise the empty glass that still smells disgusting in a sort of salute, put it down as a thank you, and then we'll go find a couch somewhere to put his feet up and take a little nap.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. You can do that. And feel free to spend hit dice to recover. Mika, is there anything that you want to do while the rest of your compatriots are either watching or resting? You could also take some rest or.
I think I'm gonna spend maybe an hour or two attempting a couple of just like minor or lesser healing potions, to try to dole out, because I'm not trying to use up all of my spell slots healing these people when they get hit, but I also can't have them going down in whatever we're about to do, and then I will also rest.
Okay. Absolutely. I think that is totally fine. And I think with everybody kind of resting and keeping watch, and Morgan off on his surreptitious mission, that's probably a good time for us to take a break. And we'll pick up with what happens to Morgan as soon as we get back. So don't go away. Stick around. See you real soon. Hello. We're back. We're back from break. Thanks for hanging out. And now it's about time to watch Sir Morgan Alcazar go to work. So, Morgan, you depart the grounds of Black Pike, House Black Pike, and you're leaving through the through Dockside, the neighborhood. Where are you heading?
How far is the castle from where we are?
It's it's a fairly good distance, but I think the question that would be plaguing you a little bit would be, where would you be more likely to find Lyle? Would it be at House Godfrey or would it be at the castle?
Yeah.
And I think maybe like a kind of a an interesting. We'll do kind of an interesting interpretation of the insight skill here, and I'll ask you to roll that.
Okay.
It's a little bit of like a. Well, I'll let you pick between insight and investigation, whichever one you'd prefer.
Definitely insight.
Okay, cool.
That's 14.
Okay, yeah, I think 14 is enough. You know that it's only been a couple of days since Lord Cedric Godfrey assumed the regency. It would be gauche for him to also move his family in, and given what you know about Lyle, who as kind of an irresponsible he's kind of seen as irresponsible. You I think could probably surmise that at this very early hour he's likely not even awake.
Even better.
Your best bet, I think you realize, would be to find him asleep in his own bed at House Godfrey.
Beautiful. I will start heading to House Godfrey then.
Okay. And you could make your way through the streets. I'll say let's make one more stealth check just to kind of generally cover your traveling through the city.
It's a 17.
17 is very good. You stick to the shadows and the alleys and the rooftops, and you over the course of your time here in Havenal, you've kind of made it your business to know these streets like the back of your hand, and indeed, you have no trouble traversing them. And as far as you are aware, as far as anyone is aware, you go entirely unnoticed. You make your way back up to the wealthier quarters of the city, and before too long, you find yourself looking at kind of the expansive grounds surrounding House Godfrey. They almost have like their own forest of topiaries and like well manicured gardens, and like it's rough that the house itself is roughly 3 times the size of Lady Rosanna's.
Would Hector have ever visited here?
I think yes. Yeah, Hector certainly has, and you would have come along to guard him. So yes, absolutely, you've been here.
Okay. I'm going to find my way around to the side that I know where the bedrooms are. I can't imagine I know exactly where Lyle's is, but I generally know where the family would sleep, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, it's entirely possible. You were given this assignment a little bit ago.
That's true.
It's entirely possible you might have cased the house already, and you might know exactly which bedroom is Lyle's.
I mean, Morgan is thorough, and secrecy and being in and out is of the utmost importance, and so research ahead of time is absolutely something that they would do.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So yeah, I think you know exactly what side of the house to make your way to, and I think you know exactly which window leads into Lyle's bedroom. And as you look in the sort of, you know, the breeze, you can see it kind of blowing the curtains back and forth through the open window.
I'm going to. Is there a way that I can climb my way up and be able to peek inside the room without just like pulling myself over the ledge and falling into the room?
I think definitely. Why don't we athletics or acrobatics, whichever one is better for you.
Athletics. It's cocked. That's a 16.
Okay, yeah, that's more than enough to pull yourself up very nimbly. You are kind of sacrificing stealth here to scale the side, but you don't hear any shouts of alarm or anything like that as far as you are aware. You go unnoticed, and yeah, you can absolutely kind of catch yourself right under the ledge.
What do I see when I look inside?
You see a mess of a room. There are clothes strewn about, and you know enough about the wealthy and elite of the city to know that the fact that his room still looks like this in the morning hours means that this is all from last night. There are people who would come in and clean up every day. So this mess that he has created here is all from last night. And I think you see a figure kind of just wrapped in bed sheets, just a kind of a lump in the bed. But you hear the soft sound of snoring. Yeah, that's what you see.
And it looks like it's just one person.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, yes. It kind of looks like the amount of I will tell you for free that the amount of like mess in the room doesn't look like it was created by one person, but it looks like there's one person sleeping in the bed currently.
Okay. I will pull myself in and I'll tuck myself into a quiet, dark corner and listen to see if it sounds like anybody is coming down the hall or coming to check on him, anything like that.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
$18.
Okay, 18. With an 18,
I'm so glad all these rolls are going well. I'm
They
so
are going
stressed
very
right now,
well.
y'all.
You hear a few people moving about the house. You hear a couple people walk by conversing outside the door, but they don't come in. I think at one point, right as you are getting ready to make a move, you actually hear the doorknob turn and you freeze in place. The door opens just enough for like someone, presumably you can't see who it is, to peek in. And you just kind of hear like they take the whole site in, see the person still sleeping in the bed. You hear like a tut of disapproval, and then the door closes again.
Okay. I'm going to approach the bed and confirm that it's just one person sleeping in the bed.
Yes.
And if so, I'm going to I have to think about what state of mind Morgan is in right now.
I will say that like it's very much like almost a cocoon situation of like blankets and things. So you can confirm that there's one person sleeping in the bed. You can hear snoring, but there's really no way to visually confirm that that person is in fact Lyle Godfrey.
That might not matter right now.
Why not?
But Morgan is a professional, so I will start to peel back the cocoon just enough to see if I can get eyes on him.
Yeah, and I think you peel it back and you unveil the very like well tailored golden curls of Lyle Godfrey, his like handsome face with just like a little bit of stubble. He's at the very least shirtless, might be moreless, hard to say. But you peel the blankets back and immediately he kind of like yawns and like puts an arm out in your like as if blocking the light. Says, "Oh, goodness, it's morning already." And yes,
I put my hand over his mouth and I pull out a blade and press it to his throat.
His eyes go wide and he tries to talk. He's like shaking his head and he's saying something, but you are covering his mouth. The blade to his throat.
And I just say very quietly, if you scream, I'm going to cut your throat before you can get anything out. I have questions. And I will slowly pull my hand back and slightly increase the pressure of the blade on his throat. What do you know about this coup?
I would just like to start off by saying that whatever it is I'm doing that you don't like, I will stop doing.
Right now, that's not answering my question. What do you know about this coup?
Right. He looks around and says, I'm sorry. I'm having a bit of a hard time, thinking clearly with a knife against my throat. I just woke up, and honestly, my head is killing me. I would like to rephrase that if possible. Yeah, I know you. Everyone thinks you're dead.
Ideally, they'll continue to think that. I need to know what you know. To what end? What side are you on? I further increase the pressure of the blade on his throat.
Yes, I understand my position.
I'm
That's
a crown's
me.
guard to the prince. Whose side do you think I'm on?
Well, that's... Look, I can tell you... what I know. Which is to say... And he, again, you see his mind racing, and he's, clearly trying to, look at all these different factors and try to figure out what he can say in this moment. And I think he can feel that you are... do you increase the pressure again? I assume if he takes too long to respond, yeah, and it's enough to, start to draw blood, and I think that's the moment where he blurts out and says, I know where Hector is.
Motherfucker. Shit. I think there's a slight hesitation to the blade. And that totally threw me for a loop. That was so good. I think there's a slight hesitation to the blade, and Morgan immediately is back to that night of the coup and just cycling through that moment of leaving Hector and not knowing where he's been since, and just says, it would benefit you to start talking now.
Gladly. Can you put the blade away? Maybe.
Morgan pulls the blade away, and in the exact same motion pulls the bunong from their back and points it at Lyle. Is this better?
I guess, sort of, yes. I think you could probably still kill me with that, but I suppose the threat is a little bit less imminent.
Where is he?
I don't know exactly where he is, but I know who has him. I know who he is with.
That being who? I have a question.
Yes.
Do I feel like he is stalling? Or do I feel like he is still thinking and weighing his options?
That's a great question. Let's make an insight check.
For his own benefit, I really hope he's just thinking through things. That is a natural 20 for a 24.
Perfect. You know that he is not stalling. You know that he is trying to, like, there is a lot of information going through his brain, and he is trying to figure out, like, where to start.
Okay.
Basically, because you were giving him the chance, he's not, like, blurting everything out in random spots. He's trying to think. He says, all right, look. You're here, clearly, to kill me. Which means I think that someone probably told you to kill me. All
Maybe
right?
Maybe I'm doing it on a whim. It's not really your place to question.
Why me at that point?
Your place to question. Tell me where Hector is and maybe I'll tell you.
Okay. He's with a group of people who are working to find a voice, the common, everyday citizens of Valoria.
Can you say that again, Will?
He is with a group of people who are working to find a voice for the common, everyday people of Valoria.
Okay. And they're keeping him alive?
Yes.
Who are these people?
Look. They call themselves the Heart of Valoria. I've been working with them for a very long time. Which brings us back to why I assumed someone sent you here to kill me, because that's why probably you were sent to kill me.
Who else is part of this group?
I mean, no one politically important. I don't think, as far as I know. Not that I've been told. It's a collection of citizens. They're smiths and sailors and shopkeepers.
It wasn't smiths and sailors and shopkeepers who stormed the castle.
It wasn't. But they're being framed for it.
Who organized the coup?
That I don't know. But I know that whoever it was knew about the Heart of Valoria. Knew that there was some group that was working to undermine the crown. And framed them, saw an opportunity. They framed it as an uprising, as a riot.
Is there anything else that you can tell me?
I can tell you that he's safe.
Where?
I again, I don't know, but I can put you in touch with the people who can if you don't kill me. That part is kind of implied, but I thought it was worth stating. Just so we're on the same page.
You're confident that he is still alive. When was the
Yes.
last time you verified this?
I have no reason to kill him. It doesn't benefit them to become the monster that they're being painted as. And if they wanted him dead, they could have let him die the night of the attack.
Morgan lowers the bunong. How do I feel like he is being as forthcoming as he can be?
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Morgan very quietly says, "Long live the king," and swings.
To kill him?
You take his head off.
All right. Yeah, I think roll an attack roll.
If this is versatile, I can use strength or what's the other one?
Dexterity. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a natural 19 for a 25.
I mean, he does not see it coming. He is taken very by surprise. You can roll your damage.
I have the opportunity with Legacy of Might, so I am able to deal max damage. That's just going to be 8 points of slashing damage. I don't think I get anything else to it. Oh wait, yes I do.
Yeah, you should have. You should be able to at least add whatever your strength is.
Oh, I get to add my strength, so that brings it up to 14 points. But then also, I get to roll 2d8 and add an additional. Ooh, that's 2 8s. An additional 16 for 30 points of damage.
Lyle Godfrey is just a guy, and his head rolls free of his shoulders as you swing the bunang.
I use his bed sheets to clean the blade, store it back on my back, and climb out the window.
Okay.
I have no reason to take the head. I have no king that I need to take the head to.
Absolutely. You make your way across the grounds of House Godfrey, and I think you are most of the way back onto the street when you hear a scream of horror from inside House Godfrey. A woman's scream of horror.
No one would ever be able to clock it, but the camera would see Morgan tilt their head and slowly smile, and then continue on their path.
All right. The travel is the only thing that really took a long time out of this. So are you heading straight back to House Blackpike?
I'll take a very circuitous route, make sure that
Sure.
I'm not followed, all of that stuff, but eventually, yes, back to the house if it's not evening time yet.
Yeah, no, not evening time by any means. It probably took you like an hour of travel to get there, and you're taking a little bit more of a circuitous route, but I think you arrive back with while people are still sleeping, still resting, since everybody was trying to get a little bit of rest during the daylight before you go out at night.
Is the
You're
lady
back.
still keeping watch?
She is. She's like kind of dragged a chair outside onto the porch of the house and is reclining back with that same mug in her hand. Presumably she has refilled it, or she's drinking it very slowly, but yours still sits where you left it, untouched, not steaming any longer, of course. But
I grab the cup, I walk over, hold it up for a cheers, and say, as far as you're concerned, I never left. And I will take a sip of the coffee.
it's very strong, very bitter, but she raises her cup and cheers you, and nods to you and says, I trust that your business went well then.
It's completely handled. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Understood on both counts. Do you want me to stay on watch, or?
No, I certainly can take it from here.
She will go back inside the house, give you a nod, and go back inside the house. She'll kind of like peek in and check on each of you individually as you're, resting, watching, brewing potions, etc., etc. If anybody wants to do anything right now or have any conversations, we have the opportunity, or we'll time skip ahead a little bit, a couple hours until evening when you were going to go and look into this lead. All right. So I think once... Oh, yes.
I think that Hestia would have gone to Amika's room, just at the wake up at the time right before we were heading out, and just submitted to medicine and that process, and made it easy just this once because it's been a hard day, and for the first time in a couple of days she's had a good night's sleep, so she's a little more agreeable now. But that's all. We can definitely time skip.
There's just so much shock in that. Just wait, you're asking for this? And it checks forehead. Are you good?
Yeah, and I think, during the course of that checkup and that medicine administration is kind of when the rest of you... we lost Alex, but he'll be back probably. During that process is when the rest of you kind of come back together, and you... Amika, I think you especially would take note of some of the kind of inexpertly applied bandages and things that Liv is wearing on her face.
Knowing full well that Liv knows how to apply things, and why are there bandages on your face when that was a small gash. It's why I didn't stitch it up. Your chin was just bruised. What? She doesn't say anything, but you can tell she's looking at you huh? No. Then there's that moment of WTF, and then never mind, it's not my business. Your body, your choice, you do whatever you want. I don't care. And before we head out, I will dole out the health potions and let them know, don't consume these until it is of great need. They're quite strong and powerful.
Yeah. And as you are all gathered, I think Rosanna will walk in. She has fully wrapped up, while you were resting, she has fully wrapped up Rhea's body, and just sort of sets it down gently, like it weighs nothing on her powerful shoulder. And she sort of dusts her hands off, like handling a dead body is nothing new for her, and looks around at all of you and says, Well, if your plan is still the same for the rest of the evening, then I'll let you all know that there's been a court called this evening. I received the missive earlier. All of the lords and ladies present are summoned to the castle. An address from Regent Godfrey. But I'm planning to use the event to speak to some of the others and get a sense about who would support a change in the regime as opposed to Hester Dane. Suss out allies, should it come to that.
Well, Stradine, appreciate the support of House Blackpike. Thank you, Betsy.
Of course. Hopefully it won't come to that, but it will. There are a few that I trust. And there are more that I don't trust at all, but I think will side with whoever the apparent victor is. So, mixed bag there, really. But as long as the rest of you make it back safely, just be careful. Some of the stories that I've heard are, well, be careful. And with that, it sounds like you're all ready to head out.
I do think that Telemachus might pull Lady Blackpike aside before they leave and just give her a... Based on your assessment, when you return, there are those to whom perhaps leverage could be applied if you think that they are pliable. Most everyone at that court has a lever somewhere, and I know where most of them are, so just let us know.
Understood, Sir Bast.
I think also very reluctantly, Amika will ask Lady Blackpike to hold on to her giant bags of herbs and whatnot, because it doesn't seem appropriate or necessary to take them with, but something about being without them is very upsetting to Amika. It's one of those, like, guard these with your life sort of things. I will take care of the princess. Please take care of my herbs.
No, of course, please leave anything that you are comfortable leaving behind. You'll want to travel late, not draw too much attention to yourselves. And she would provide each of you with, like, plain clothes if you need them, though she would not recommend going in unarmed or unarmored by any means. Cloaks and the like. Then you set out the door onto the streets of Dockside as it's getting, as the sun is dipping below the horizon. It's a very different vibe from the busy mornings that you observed earlier today. People are either heading home or back to their ships, which are in dock, and all of the many, many bars are coming alive along the wharf. And you pass all of those, but you don't draw much attention at all. There are enough people moving around down here who do not want to be noticed, that people tend to mind their own business regarding such things. And you pass by relatively unobserved, as far as you're aware, and you're keeping an eye out. You follow the directions that Lady Blackpike gave you, turn a few corners, and you enter a very different part of Dockside. You enter a part that looks nearly abandoned. You can see some of the decay that is set in on the wharf itself, where some of the docks and the moorings have started to rot away. Just intermittent boards and planks that are begging for somebody to try to step on them and fall through into the sea below. You stop seeing any signs of people except for maybe the occasional blur of movement out of the corner of one eye that might be somebody ducking into an alley or could be, a stray. It's hard to say, but you find yourselves... the air is much more ominous and quiet and still, even though you can still hear raucousness behind you. The buildings themselves are in disrepair and decay. Most seem long abandoned. And you round one corner, and you find yourselves following the directions, so you are certain you are in the right place, but you find yourselves facing a warehouse, which similarly is barely more than a corpse of what it used to be, a decaying skeleton. Even from where you are standing, you can see parts of where the roof has started to cave in. What glass remains is frosted over and filthy. There are holes and rotting boards and rust on the knobs of the two big, large, almost barn doors that stand at the front of it. And the only thing that betrays you are in the right place is as you draw close to those massive doors, you find at about eye level, small star burned into the wood, 5-pointed.
It's a good hiding space, if nothing else.
Estia takes out her sword and equips her shield.
Lord Bast, if you wouldn't mind.
Am I going in quietly? That the plan?
Well, I would love to make sure that nothing is booby-trapped. The immediate entrance isn't going to cave in on us, or the floors collapse and we fall into a pit of something vile and drown in muck or worse. Ensure the entrance is usable.
Your imagination does you credit, and I will roll investigation.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You roll investigation. Go for it.
All right.
And I would also ask at this point, who is carrying the wrapped corpse of Rhea? She's not
Morgan
large.
can be.
Okay. Yeah, she's not a large girl. She's not heavy. How'd you do?
Okay,
Sir
so I got a
Telemachus?
21 with my investigation roll. My passive investigation is 23. If that makes any difference.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. I think that you take a look at the door and you examine it and you are able to determine that it's not locked. It's not trapped. It seems solid enough despite the facade.
Do I get the impression that perhaps someone has attempted to make this look as dilapidated as the surroundings, as a camouflage?
You do get the impression that it's a little bit worse than it could be.
Okay.
Purposefully.
Seems someone wants to hide themselves in plain sight. Very wise of them.
Gosh, I suppose I should make a habit of being the first person to speak. I don't know. Should I be the person to knock? This is my business. I will be the first person to knock.
But you're also in hiding.
Maybe it's time to step out of hiding. People need someone to rally behind, right? That's a plan. Since my brother is MIA.
Do you
As it
think
were.
that Telemachus might advise that we take a moment to figure out what any alternate egress routes are? He does not like knowing only one way in and out of any given place, so I think...
I can
And
check
I
the
also
building.
think it's probably standard procedure in normal times to when we have someone who is of royal blood to make sure that we know the area as best we can, even if we can't get into it to look first. So I think he might quietly
Place a bust.
do a walkabout.
Sure. Anna, were you saying something as well?
Liv was going to volunteer to do it.
Okay.
If Sir Bast is okay with it, she may come with, just in case he gets jumped. Never hurts to have two people.
It's true.
4 eyes are better than 2. 6 are better than 4. But we can make do with 4.
Yeah, you all kind of case the joint, look around the outside to try to get a feel for it. There's only one other door. You find it around, if you're standing facing the 2 large double doors at the front that have the star burned into them, around the right-hand side of the building near the back, you find another door that looks like it is in much better condition, but it is fully closed, and the glass is so dirty in it that you can't actually see beyond, other than like some vague shapes inside. Other than that, there are about 2 windows roughly on each side of the building, some of them broken so that you can peek inside. You just kind of see like it's very dark beyond, but I think as you walk around, you do actually see that while a lot of the building appears to be dark, you do see some light beyond. Like, I think when you look in through the dirty glass of the door, you see light beyond that, and then from one of the windows around back, you also see light, like flickering flame.
I have 2 more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is the back door locked?
If you try it, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do I know if the sewers run to this part of town?
Interesting. With a dockside, it's kind of hard for you to know if you are on the docks proper or if you are on the land. You know what I mean? Like, the sewers run out into the ocean.
Yep.
So it's possible that there would be a sewer connection, but it's also possible that you're actually over part that is the ocean itself.
Okay, so I think the question in his mind is, can we go through the floor? Thinking 3-dimensionally, if we need a very fast escape route, would that put us in the ocean, or would that put us... Or is that not an option, potentially?
Interesting. Yeah. If you would have to like walk quite a bit further to know for sure, but I would say that I will let you know that you are about 70-30, that if you were to go through the floor, you'd be in the sewers.
Okay. I've won bets on worse odds. So.
That's true.
All right. Then I think as Telemachus walks with Liv, it's just one of those... he is very business-like as he goes about it, and I think he is a keen enough observer of human behavior to know that Liv needs a job, needs a focus right now, and he is more than happy to do that thing where he clearly is also seeing these things, but is asking advice, asking for her opinion, checking, having her do most of the work so that she has a focus, a purpose, so that when we get back, Liv can give the report.
Understood. And yeah, you rejoin the rest of the group. Liv, do you share the findings?
I do, yeah.
So you are all well informed about the situation at hand.
So, do we knock? Do we infiltrate? What's our move here?
Bastille will step forward and say, well, we had to ask for a service. Probably not best to infiltrate when you're asking for help. Let's be prepared, though, in case someone has walked us into a trap. Ready? Bastille will turn and knock.
You raise your hand to knock, and right as you are about to, you hear a voice that calls out from inside and says, No, don't bother knocking. Just come in. Wasted enough time.
Bastille will change from knocking to will push open the door. Is it dark in there?
It is dark, but again, you can see light towards the back of the warehouse.
I think Liv
Bastille will ignite her sword.
will put a hand on Hestia's shoulder and kind of push in front of the princess to enter the space first.
Okay. You walk in, and sure enough, it is dark. There are many, many shadows, and it is a warehouse, so it looks like a warehouse on the inside when you first walk in. There's immediately a cart that everything looks like it's been sitting exactly where it is for months, if not years. There's a thick layer of dust covering much of it. There's a cart stacked high with crates, the broken remains of like a rowboat off in one corner. You see the outlines of more crates, more barrels, off in the different directions, but as you start to move through, most notably, I will say Telemachus, you take note that in the center of the floor, a drain, a large drain, grated, covered in a grate, but one that might be able to be moved. You're not sure if it's bolted down or not. It's hard to tell. But the further back you move, the cleaner it becomes as you approach the light. And in one corner of the warehouse, there is kind of a separate room with very thin walls. You're not sure exactly what purpose this would have served when the warehouse was operational, but this is kind of the source of the light. And you see warmth beyond. You see like furniture. You can see glimpses of like tables covered in parchment with writing covering them, a few instruments here and there, not musical instruments like beakers and like not Bunsen burners, but you know what I mean, like medieval equivalent of chemistry sets.
Looking around, does it seem like there's places above us where there might be archers, crossbowmen, anything like that?
Your passive perception is very good, if I remember correctly.
It's like 17?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some rafters up there, but given the state of the warehouse, it would be probably suicidal to try to walk across them. And as you look up, as you're moving through, you don't see any shadows or hints of movement except for like falling dust.
I have dark vision. Is there anything that I can see that would sort of make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up?
Maybe not dangerous, but Morgan, as you move through and you look at the crates and the barrels and the walls of this place, almost every available surface has been carved into writing and glyphs and formula.
I think very quietly, Morgan just says, these people are very committed to whatever this cause is.
Would I recognize any of that?
Let's make a religion check. Call it religion.
All right, let's see. 12.
The total is 12? Okay. I think you would recognize some of the formulae as somewhat typical stargazer fare. Kind of like calculating the positioning of the stars and what that means for, the immediate future, the past, etc., etc. Jotting notes down. The rest of it looks far stranger. It kind of tugs at something in your mind. Like it sort of feels familiar, but you can't quite place where you've seen it before.
Tuck that away for later then.
Yeah, I'll also say that, like, Hestia has ignited the sword, and the sword, like, is very bright, as well as, like, a bit obvious. So everyone should be able to see, like, the writing on the wall, so to speak, even without dark vision.
I was just going to ask, do we see the person who spoke to us?
You don't, but the deeper in you go as you kind of approach that back area with the light, I think you kind of see shadows moving on the wall, and you'd hear the voice again call out and say, yes, back here, you're perfectly safe. Come in.
As we go in, thinking about how far Bast and I walked, how close are we to that back door?
So I think as you kind of I think you can surmise, since you scaled the outside, the back door connects to this room with the light and the tables and the equipment and stuff like that.
I'll be the first one into the room. Check for danger.
And you walk in, and the first thing you see, aside from everything that I've already described, is a small, kind of bent figure. You see just this little man, sort of this like crazy white shock of hair, that's mostly thinned and gone, just kind of like standing up in different directions. Barely, like, honestly, kind of barely wearing anything, just sort of like the tatters of like decency garments, the tatters of like robes, but enough by far, like little enough clothing by far that you can see likewise the same kind of formulae and symbols that you took note of standing out as like scars of various kinds on his own flesh. As you enter the room, however, he will kind of like snatch a robe, like an intact one, and throw it across his shoulders and put it on and say, my apologies, I forget myself sometimes. He's kind of like crouched over one of the tables doing something. I've been expecting you. You can place her there. Gesture to one of the couches.
I do so.
Someone told you we were coming.
Yes, someone. Yes, several. Someone's, thousands of someone's.
I didn't realize our merry band was so popular. Which thousands of someone?
He kind of gestures grandly up to the sky, even though there's a roof overhead.
other bats in the rafters. Thousands of someones.
Stars. Child, the stars. They tell us so many things, stories that have taken place, that have not yet passed, that have yet to come. Fascinating stories. History repeating itself. He turns around at this point, and you see that he's holding in his hands this strange device. There is an open flame kind of burning in a lantern. The top of it has been taken off. There's an open flame burning behind him. He turns around and he has this sort of a glass bulb with sort of like a pipe stem coming out of the top. There is this odd substance inside. It almost looks like water, but it has a blue cast to it and a slight luminescence in the firelight. And his eyes are red. At first you think they are bloodshot, but then no, you look again and they just have a red tint, almost like an overtone across them. And that kind of extends outward into his eyelids as well, and the rest of the socket. But he gestures. So many stories, history repeating itself, and he points this like strange device towards you, Hestia. Lies, and he points towards Liv. Motherhood. He points to Amika. Murder. Gesturing to Morgan.
Right. Well, we didn't come here for you to read us. We wanted some answers from this corpse that we've made.
You want to speak to the dead, and Rot will provide.
What is your price?
No price.
Everyone has a
church.
price.
This is the chapel, a place of worship. You do them honor simply by being here. I would offer you to partake. He holds out this device. The things that you will see, the things that you will understand.
Can I make an insight check on this creepy old man offering me drugs?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, besties. My insight is -1. Yeah, it is.
I mean, no matter the role, you can tell this is a creepy old man offering you drugs.
True.
He's insane, clearly.
Before she grabs this, can I cast detect poison and disease on this device?
Yeah, absolutely you can. You cast that. I don't think it actually detects as either. At least not anything that you are familiar with. It is strange, but you get the impression that it's more primordial than anything else.
Okay, so she might go on a little trip, but she's not going to die from it.
I didn't say that. It's not a poison or disease. That doesn't mean that it's safe.
Your Majesty, what have I told you since childhood?
Many things.
Okay, I need you to think very hard about this exact instance.
Can I make an intelligence check to see if Hestia remembers?
I don't
Or
think
do you
need
think that Hestia would remember?
me? I think that
I'm
regardless.
asking Garnet.
Got it. Fair.
Oh, I think just like right now, just due to the tone, and it's very clear she doesn't want you to touch this thing. That it's very much a don't take candy from strangers moment.
Fair. Yeah, like, we'll go ahead and say, perhaps not tonight, maybe another time.
Of course, anytime the chapel stands accepting worshippers whenever they are in need, you can always come back, but you are already close to them. You, princess, the blood that runs in your veins is of the old gods. But the rest of you, I could tell you things if you partake of the gods' water, not just look through it. No, not like the cowards, the stargazers. No, you partake of it, and the gods speak to you.
Will,
Yes.
like, is there, like, myth of the Jordanes having, like, ancestry with Celestials? Is
Let's
this
call it.
story? Is this myth?
Let's call it a religion roll.
Okay. Religion's not great, though. History would be so much better. It's fine.
You
It's
can roll
okay.
history if you want. I think that's fine. I think that's probably more fair since I told you this was going to be a very religious campaign. So,
thank you, very kind and very merciful DM. Yeah, with a religion check, it would have been a 10, but it is a 16 because
Cool.
Expertise in history.
Yes. So your history, the history of Valoria, begins with Randolph Jourdain, your ancestor, during the time of the Clan Wars. And the Clan Wars were very much based around the old gods. They were these like spirits of destruction and excess and like hedonistic over partaking, and each clan worshipped a different god, and the legends said, of course, that Randolph Jourdain, the power of House Jourdain, came from the god that Clan Jourdain fought in the name of, sacrificed for, killed for, essentially. That is very, like, that religion does not exist anymore. It is very illegal, very old, and it's considered like largely myth and legend. With a 16, I will say the one caveat to that, I think Hestia would know that the stargazers, when they look to the stars, when they practice the star arts, the astronomy, they do so through lenses that have been specially crafted and worn down in a substance called God's water, which various like pools and springs have been discovered in certain locations, and are said to be left behind by the old gods. By looking through those lenses, people see things in the stars, patterns, and hear things and experience things. Some people take it a step too far by imbibing the substance, and it usually drives them insane. And they're usually cast out from the order.
Pools and springs. That has a hint of recognition to Hestia. Just because she never found that lake lady again. And she is very, very tempted to imbibe. But Amika is right there and saying, no, don't do the drugs that this creepy old man in the worn down warehouse has told you to do. And she will say, sir, we are on a bit of a time crunch. Can you commune with this dead for us, or can't you?
Time. It's always time. It's always when. It's never where. But if it's with the dead you desire to speak, I can open a way.
Please do.
He takes the open lantern flame off of the table and sort of moves it around under the glass bulb in his hand as the water inside the vaguely glowing water starts to sort of bubble and steam, and he takes a long pull from the stem coming out of the top, and he is at it for a full minute, more than a human being should be able to. And finally, he throws his head back, and with a great exhale, this cloud bursts forth from inside of his mouth and swirls overhead, over top of all of you, and kind of makes its way. It's a sort of just nebulous white cloud that makes its way over top down towards Rhea's body, and as it almost reaches out with these smoky hands to either side of where her head is wrapped, it turns this deep crimson red color, and you hear a voice, a woman's voice, and that says, what is happening? Where am I?
State your name.
It's so dark. I can't see anything.
That's normal. In your condition. Who are you?
My name is Ralsane.
What's the last thing you remember?
I remember teeth around my neck.
What were you in life?
Could you repeat that?
What were you in life? What did you do?
You haven't told me where I am or why it's so dark, or why I can't see anything, why it's cold. feel I'm not alone here. I feel I won't be here for long.
The teeth won.
I am dead.
You are? Why were you sent? Who sent you?
I was hired, brought from my home to protect someone.
There is nothing more that can happen to you. There is no need for secrets. Who were you meant to protect?
Lyle Godfrey.
And why were you sent after Princess Hestia?
I wasn't.
Why did you come to the safe house?
Because that's where Morgan Alcazar was.
Were you meant to kill Morgan?
Not at first.
And who sent you?
Cedric Godfrey.
Amika's gonna look around to see if anybody else has any questions before this ghost goes back to her afterlife.
What did you want with Morgan, if not to kill him at first?
I was meant to follow Lyle to stay at his side because he was speaking to people that he should not have been speaking to. Find the organization that he was associating with, the one that wanted to find the one that wanted to topple the monarchy. Eliminate them. Then Cedric got word that his son was being targeted for those same associations. The king had put a plan of his own into action to put a stop to Lyle's activities.
Do you know where Prince Hector is?
No. I believed him dead. There is something else here with me. whispers. It says things. You can't hear it?
What does it say?
It keeps repeating over and over again. Please help me.
Just to clarify, was that Rhea saying, please help me? Or
Yes.
was she... Okay.
Yes, it was the same voice coming from the cloud.
What does the voice want?
It just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Please let me go, or I think it's... Please. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
What is the priest doing?
He's kind of like crouched on the floor. He's kind of just been like the smoke that's filling the air still goes back to his nostrils and his throat. And he is just kind of like leaned back. He's still kind of like wheezing, but it's all one exhale. He's been doing this for 12 minutes at this point, 15 minutes.
But she has not told us what the voice is saying.
You can ask her again.
We can't hear
What
the
is the-
voice.
What is the voice telling you?
It says it's... And then the voice changes. The cloud takes this much darker cast. And there's just this, that the weight of the room increases tenfold. The air grows thin. You feel the presence change entirely as this voice says one word. Hungers. I think that's where we're going to end this episode of The Fall of the Ashen Throne. It is just about 11. We'll leave it on that cliffhanger and pick up with exactly what the smoke monster that wants to eat you all is next time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very glad Hestia did not partake in the drugs. This would have been bad.
I was shocked we got as close as we did. Remember, kids, if anybody offers you weird glowing water to smoke, don't smoke it.
Legit, had you reached out
Listen.
your hands, I would have forgotten my place and smacked you like a child about to touch a stove.
Yeah.
Listen.
Avoid evil bongs, kids.
Y'all, she has fire powers because she accepted a sword from a magic lake lady. Sometimes you just gotta roll with it when your elders give you things.
That's so true. That's so true. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here at Fall of the Ashen Throne tonight. So I imagine we will go around and do our introductions, and then we'll finish with Kian. So I will go ahead and kick things off, and I will say I'll say hello. Hi, my name is Will. I was your storyteller this evening. You can find me all over the internet at AWillM Scream, mostly Blue Sky these days. I actually don't think I have much going on for the rest of this week. I think it was a fairly light one here for me. Yeah, so I won't actually be streaming anything for a while, but if you're in the DMV area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, Saturday afternoon at MagFest, I'll be doing a panel with some of the folks from Live from the Apocalypse, the nonprofit TTRPG studio that raises money for actual plays, raises money through actual plays for charities and things like that. I'll be at MagFest doing a panel about world building. I don't remember when, but we are on the calendar. You can find it if you're going to MagFest and you look for Live from the Apocalypse. That's all I got going on for the foreseeable future, so that's going to do it for me. Alex?
Hi, hello, I'm Alex. I was Sir Telemachus Bast. If you go to Live from the Apocalypse, not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday and every alternating Tuesday after that, you can see me in Nephilim Tenebris, which is another Will game where I play a tiny bean man who is a doctor in space, living his best life with his gigantic muscle girlfriend. Nothing can possibly go wrong in that universe or in this one, I hope. So yeah, that's the other game I've got, and just take care of yourselves, because it's grim. So yeah, that's all.
Anita?
Anita, hello everyone. I am Anita. I have been Hestia, who also has a giant muscle suitor. Best flavor of character, gotta be honest. But
Just keeps happening. I don't know.
yeah, you can catch me on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, where the Issues Podcasts, a mask podcast that is. It just had episode 1 release, like I think a couple weeks ago, and episode 2 should be coming out this upcoming weekend. Yeah, my teens are in a low super setting, and we're superheroes, and we're trying to fight at the hospital, and hopefully we don't break the hospital. You'll have to tune in to see if we do. We have a bull, so the odds are against us. But with that, that is me. I'm Anita. They, them, and she, her pronouns. You can catch me at Anita the Lesbian on Twitter if you like social media and that stuff. And I will pass it over to Anna.
That is me. I am Anna, aka Archival Dust Bunny, most places on the internet. I'm a queer and trans advocate, museum worker, and TTRPG performer, producer, and podcaster. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky at Archival Dust Bunny. It's late, so I'm the only thing I'm going to promote is Bloom and Blight. If you enjoy magical girls, queer stories, finding hope again after devastating loss, check out Bloom and Blight, our Girl by Moonlight actual play podcast. It follows the titular team, magical girl team Bloom, just a few months after they lost their leader Lily. She sacrificed herself to save the world. And the show kind of explores their grief and how it affects them and their relationships and how they balance that with their responsibilities to continue saving the city that they are in. You can find us anywhere you normally get your podcast and on all social media except Twitter at Bloom and Blight. And for character and cast information, transcripts, downloadables, and a link to our amazing community Discord server, you can check out bloomandblight.com. We just started our second season, but our episodes are short, 40 to 60 minutes, tightly edited with full music and sound effects, so it's a very easy listen, so it's a great time to catch up.
Garnet?
Hey y'all, I am Garnet. This week is, let's see, I've got Into the Old Margrave and the long-awaited season finale of Heaven's Fire, both of which you can find on ESP. And then, if we're all still here come next Monday, it's my birthday. So, swing by my Blue Sky and come hang out. I'll probably just be chilling because I refuse to go to work on my birthday. But otherwise, that's kind of all I've got going on right now. I've got some other stuff coming up, but I'm not allowed to announce it yet. So surprises and fun things are coming.
And last but certainly not least, Kian, plus all the Entropy Emporium stuff you need to know.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kian. I have been Morgan Alcazar tonight. We didn't know if it was going to be romance or murder. Super fun thing. Super secret third thing. It was both. I am going to run through Entropy Emporium stuff because I am in a lot of it. And so that's the easiest way to plug the things that I do. Every other Monday, obviously here, Follow the Ashen Throne, GM'd by Will. Every other Tuesday, including tomorrow, They Call Us Villains, a Horror Masks actual play, GM'd by JD. I will be there. Every other Thursday, God Complex, Go by Moonlight actual play, also GM'd by Will. Every other Friday, Weird Wilds War, another 5e actual play, GM'd by JT. Starting this Saturday, Godkiller Desecration, GM'd by yours truly, which I am super looking forward to. It's going to be a phenomenal time. And keep an eye out for the Blooming in the Rot, our Invisible Sun actual play finale. We had to reschedule that one, but that is also GM'd by me. As far as anything else I have going on, I probably can't talk about it yet. If I can, I have forgotten about it. But that is me. We will toss a raid somewhere, to be determined. So sit tight, hang out, wherever we end up sending the raid to. Definitely let them know who sent you. Type stuff in the chat. Make sure that they get credit for the views. Be kind to yourselves, each other, and the planet. Take care of yourselves out there, kids. It's a little brutal, but that's all I got, Will.